one, I'm really excited to be the official and first fashion mentor. We're going to have lots of fun this year and the next and the next. But I think what I'm really excited by, and I think you are as well, is to meet a man who I guess all of you would know of. You've probably seen some of his clothes and thought, oh my God, I so want to wear that. Now, of course, he's been discovered internationally, so he literally is seen on the bodies of so many international stars. So I think we want to hear more from him. Mr. Alex Perry, please welcome our guest. Come up, sit down.
Hello, nice to be here.
And yell out things if you like, clap, or if there's something you disagree with, say, what in the hell are you thinking?
Yeah, no. And then I'll yell back at you, don't worry.
That's what he will.
Yeah,
Because, as I think you've probably all seen with Alex, if you've seen him on telly or anywhere, he doesn't hold back.
No, I don't.
And we were talking about this before, and his plan today isn't to hold back. I think it's interesting because we are sitting here in front of, this amazingly eager group of students who probably want to either be designers or be somehow within the fashion industry, but Alex has done really all
Well, I
of
think
it.
it's really important to be upfront and honest and speak your mind and say what it is that you think. Everybody's got an opinion these days, and you don't always want to hear the opinion, but you've got the right to, somebody can say something to me and it's like, well, I think that's bullshit. I'll tell you it's bullshit. I just don't,
Yeah.
So, but in work, certainly, and when we're talking about our industry, so I'm trying that way too, you just got to say it as it is. You don't want anything sugar-coated. You don't want people to say, it's going to be amazing and you're amazing, and too many people tell you that you're amazing anyway, and you might be, but you got to prove it. So you got to come up with the amazing.
And I think too, because we are the social media culture that we're all a part of. We only see the good bits, don't we?
Yeah.
And every sort of image that gets put up, it's when we look our best, or we're feeling hot about ourselves.
You show your best.
Yeah, exactly. But I think today what we really want to sort of get from you, Alex, is, number one, why, how, where. So fashion, I know, was something that was always in your blood, but you were a fashion, you were an agent, a model booker for quite a while.
Well, I fluked it. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I finished school, and then I went to become a teacher, which in hindsight would have been a really bad choice for me. And then when I was studying, when I was at uni, being a bad teacher, I went to an all-boys school, so I didn't realise that there were design colleges and things. So I just applied for everything, like interior design, industrial fashion, and I was good at drawing, so I got into fashion. So then I left the terrible teaching situation. And the following year I went to college, but I didn't, I was so naive about it. I just thought that being a fashion designer meant that I'd just draw things and give them to somebody.
And someone would just sew it on this.
Make them.
Yeah.
And like the third day that we were at college, we went into, it was called the School of Fashion, and they had all the sewing machines there. And I just thought, well, I'm in the wrong place. Like, no, I'm in the drawing section. And then I knew nothing. I couldn't open the lid of it. And there were all these like home ec girls there who were pulled it out and threaded it up and did all that sort of thing. But I was too scared. Like when I told my dad that I was going to leave the terrible teaching thing, he lost it. He was very proud Greek. My son's at university and whatever. So I was too scared to say that I'm not doing this because I don't want to sew. I don't want to learn to do that. So out of fear, I stayed there and I figured out how to do it.
So did you teach yourself to sew? Did you literally sit in front of the Singer sewing machine and
No, never. I
teach
wasn't
yourself?
one of those kids that went home and, I had no interest in it at all. Like Mum used to sew something every now and then. Used to take her 3 months to make a straight skirt, and I used to think, just go and buy one. I didn't understand it.
So was your attraction
So
more
I never had that. It was purely visual.
Yeah, the
I
aesthetic
thought,
of
I can
fashion.
draw. Yes, she'd look great in that. But then and then I learned really quickly that, well, okay, you're going to have to learn how to do that. Like nobody's going to make it for you. Like, I don't know if you guys, do you have machinists here that make things for you, or do you have to do it all yourselves, or you don't sew at all? You
don't sew.
Okay. Well, so I had to learn, because that was the way of showing people what it was, and it was actually, to me, it ended up being the most important thing at college, because it taught me there was the beginnings of learning how something fit really well, what was possible, what was not possible, what was good, what was not. And then as I went on, I used to go into Chanel and Fendi and different shops and just look at the clothes and see what really beautiful clothes look like. You know, why they were that expensive, why they felt the way they did, why they made women look the way that they were. So, and that's kind of been one of the cornerstones, especially of the international expansion, that they can't believe the quality for the price that I mean, we sit up, you know, we literally hang next to Victoria Beckham and Givenchy and, you know, in all of those international stores. And if your clothing doesn't look as good as that, well, it's never going to happen. Like you'll be down on the, I don't know, on the high street floor or something. If that's nothing wrong with that, if that's what you choose to produce. But I haven't chosen to produce that. Like it's got to look the money.
What was I guess, Alex, what was the moment though that said, okay, I want to be a designer. I want my own brand. I want my own label. You know, was there a particular, you know, person you saw in a dress and you thought, God, I wish I could get my dress on that particular person?
Look, the first time I did make the first dress that I made at college, I remember the feeling of seeing it when it was on the model and it was good, and I knew that I loved that, but I knew that I wanted. When I first opened the shop, like the first person that we ever dressed, like who was a
This
celebrity.
is in the Strand Arcade?
No, this is in Kensington.
Oh, Kensington,
It was
okay.
next to a chicken shop, and
Of course it
was like, it was nothing, but it was a shop, and we dressed Noni Hazelhurst, who you guys probably don't know who she is. She's like an Australian actress, not glamorous, really beautiful lady. But I remember thinking, okay, and I made her look really beautiful. I thought back then it was for the Logies.
Yes.
And I just thought, whatever it is, I want to be a good one. I don't want to be like a mediocre designer. I don't want people to, I want to be good. I want people to know that I'm good. I want to dress good people. Not long after that, we dressed Elle Macpherson, so I thought, okay, I'm getting good, because, you know, and then that just fed me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, done. Who's the next one? What's the next one? And I just want it to be better and greater. And
when you had your Strand store, and also you have your atelier there as well. There'd be, when it was Logie time or award ceremony time or fashion week, there'd literally be like lines and lines of like celebrities waiting, like outside the Strand, waiting to get fitted by Alex.
At that time, I thought that was great. But what it actually was, I made no money from it, and I was like the go-to Australian costume hire place, like that all the celebrities would go and get a free dress, and we'd be making like 30 dresses for these Australian celebrities to go to the Logies, which I've had to go to it. It's one of the most appalling events ever in the history of the world. You think it's great, it's so bad.
So boring.
And I used to have to go for like Foxtel, and we'd sit there and it's like, God, this is shit. Like all this carry on and like, you know, whatever. And that was, and everybody's, oh my God, these, you know, amazing. And then they'd either slay them in the paper or they'd say she looked good or she didn't. So, and it was all for free. And I just thought, it's got to get better than this, right? Like people from the outwards in, people go, oh my God, the Logies. Even the word the Logies, it sends a chill.
But I think you've done
not like the Academy Awards. It's not like the Globes.
But you've done a good thing now and you don't, I mean, unless you've already got an existing relationship with someone.
Don't dress
big
any
time,
Australians.
You don't dress any Logie goers.
No.
Which I think is actually really,
no,
really
it's just
good.
I'm scarred from it, and it's never good. And somehow I don't know why. Like we dress Rita Ora when she's overseas and she looks immaculate. And then she comes to Australia and under the studio lighting, she just dies. It's not good. I don't know why it's that. And I just thought, okay, I don't want my clothes seen in that light. Like figuratively, and I don't want them to be seen like that, because it's not done in a respectful way like it is overseas.
Well, it's mainly, I mean, it's interesting when you do look at something like, and the poor Logies are getting a bit of a bad rap, but mostly now the designers who do design for so many of the celebrities are sort of like wedding dress designers.
Yeah,
aren't
correct.
They? You know,
correct.
Well,
nobody else will do it.
Yeah,
We've gotten to that point where it's like, no, I can't have it seen like that.
Yeah.
And look, when I was doing that, nobody else was doing it. It was before we really had a red carpet culture, and I wasn't considered kind of like a credible fashion designer in the industry, like in fashion. I was that guy that did the Logies dresses.
Did glam gowns.
Did glam gowns. And it was, and so there was no respect for it. And then it was even before we had this thing of like really wanting to see the red carpet. And then then that all changed. But I didn't feel maybe this is my insecurity, but I never felt I was taken seriously for that. It was just another dress and, you know, another bang, time was over.
But I think when I think there was an amazing turning point, Alex, with your brand, your career, and yourself, when when you started Ready to Wear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look,
that was a whole new world.
About 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I hated what it was. I hated not having any respect for the clothes. I had this media stuff going on, which I thought was going to be a good thing, but in retrospect, it was probably detrimental because it completely pulled focus from the clothes. And it's like, oh God, he's on TV, he's doing those Logies dresses. There was no credibility in terms of what the clothing was, and the clothing was ignored. And not every dress was great, but some of them were great. But I never got, like, they used to go on about, like, other designers, like, oh, master tailoring, or like, you know, the cut and the fit. It's like, hang on a minute, my cut and fit's really good. It's what's the benchmark of what it is, but it was ignored until I thought, okay, I'm stopping this. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to do proper fashion. I'm going to do tailoring. I'm going to do, like, you know, beautiful dresses and gowns and things, but not that big. They're not a sequin, occasionally a sequin.
Yeah.
That thing that you saw this morning.
Exactly.
But just simple. I simplified it rather than being a maximalist. It was like more minimal, sharp fashion. And then I went overseas. And that's when it, for me personally, is when it changed. It was, I didn't have to worry about, you know, what they were going to say here, but they never liked me anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then, you know, then all of a sudden, you know, Bergdorf Goodman's is like my dream stockist in the world, and Neiman Marcus and all of those people. And we started dressing all these amazing people, and I found personally validated from that. I thought, okay, they've understood it. They haven't looked at, oh, there's that dickhead with his sunglasses on his head, or he's on that terrible show, or he's doing those glasses, or whatever that is. It was, none of that is in the equation anymore, because the merit is the clothing.
So how? Okay, so we all probably in this room, if you were choosing to be or become a designer, how was it? How did you get your clothing onto the backs of celebrities internationally? Is that because, I mean, you obviously had a great relationship with your marketing team?
Yeah, well, it is that, and what we did, the first one was let's have a look and see how it goes, and literally took some clothes to an agent in Paris. And I thought, you know what, if I get one or two stockists, I'll be really happy. I think that'll be great. And we came away with 15 after that first. And it wasn't even a proper collection, the first one. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to get serious about this. And then stopped doing all that TV stuff and stopped that. Let's just focus on what this is. And then did proper collections. And we were only doing spring, summer, autumn, winter at that stage. But then I realised that when you're selling overseas, you've got to do pre-fall, you've got to do resort, you've got to either in or you're out. So it was like double the amount of work. It's like, okay, go over. I didn't know, you know, what that agent was like. And then I saw the showroom and it was shocking. And I thought, no, we need our own showroom. It was just going and turning the whole thing on its head. Yeah. And then getting a really good PR agent that we have here, like EVH, and Emma Van Handel is like, quite amazing, and she wouldn't take me on initially. Like she was dubious. She's like, "Oh, that guy with the dresses." And I said, "No, I don't want that. This is what I want it to be. This is what I want it to look like."
Yeah, and that's very much how she thinks. The way
she believed in it, because she also saw when we went through the clothes. She said, "Oh, actually, they're beautiful, but all the stuff around it stopped people from seeing that." So then all of a sudden, it was no Australian celebrities, no Delta, no, you know, blah blah. It doesn't do us any. And looking at it in business terms, it never did anything. Like I never sold anything. That's always the thing,
and I'm sure everyone here, backs. You know, when you look at an awards thing, and you might see that person wore a dress by a particular brand. But if you were doing like 30 dresses for the Logies, did you the next day have like the phone ringing off the hook with people going, I want to get that red dress that Lisa McCune had on?
My first Vogue cover, I was like, the next morning was like, okay, we'll just sit by the phone. Nothing. Like we've got to know where we are. It's a straight, like dress Jennifer Lopez. Yes, it'll sell out. If it's in Neiman's or if it's whatever store, it's gone. You know what I mean? Like those women, they have the power to sell clothes for you. You know, some more, like incredibly more than others, but generally they do. And then now that we've got a lot of things online, on Net-a-Porter, on My Therese and all that stuff, it's gone, sold out. And so those stories that I used to hear that I ended up thinking, oh, it's just a myth. They don't really do that. They do, but it's
Yeah.
the right person. I don't know one influencer that has, for my brand, who has ever sold a dress for me. Like you might be able to sell a $50 top, but you can't sell a $4,000 dress. It's just
Yeah.
not in your, real, you get likes and they
Yes.
see it, but like those women, they're the real power if you
Yes.
can go into those. So we did, and we formed relationships with all of the best stylists in LA
Yeah.
and New York, and that's how that happens.
That's important.
Like it takes a minute to get in, and they've got to like what you do, and you've got to, and they've got to like you. But that is the real key to it. Having you've got to have a good PR agency in place. You've got to have a really good sales team. It's like crucially important that your Australian sales team are great. The clothes have to be great. And then you've got to form those relationships. And then it starts. Now it kind of seems easy, but I remember when we first started, it's like, how do you do that? Like, how many times we used to reach out to different department stores or different people to come and have a look, and it's like, no, and they watch you, they see, once you get one of them, then it sort of is a bit of a dominoes effect.
Yep.
Then somebody else, like Lane Crawford, out of Hong Kong, is one of my favourite department stores in the world. Saw us at Neiman's, and then it took them a while, like 3 seasons. They kept looking, no. Yes, we'll come to the showroom. So it's just, you've got to be patient. You've got to literally keep working at it.
And even to get, a lot of stores into the showrooms. The amount of times that I covered the Milan shows and the Paris shows,
Nightmare.
and to actually get people to a showroom from a relatively unknown designer.
Unknown over there.
When I was going, Akira Isagawa and Colette Dinnigan, they were sort of, they were doing their stuff in Paris.
Yeah.
But then none of them really do it anymore. But you have gone to Paris.
I'm such a competitive bastard.
You've opened, you have your showroom.
I'm competitive because all those, and I'll tell you why, and I'm driven by anger because all those people, like people used to cry at the Akira Isagawa shows. It was such an emotional experience.
I can't stand all that.
Colette. And she used to pump out those lace dresses. You probably never know who she is, which is probably a good thing. For years, and it's like, what? Why is that happening? I didn't understand why it was happening. And I thought, right, I'm going to get in there. And when they're long gone, I'm going to be dressing the best people in the world. I'm going to be in the best stores in the world because I felt so marginalised for so long. I thought, oh, you don't think I've got it, right? You don't think I can do it. And that was the hugest motivator for me, and it still is. It's like, well, not just that, but it's like you use that negative energy and you go, right, oh, okay, you think I can't do it. Okay, watch this.
Yeah, because the thing is with the fashion industry in Australia, there is and has been for so long this sort of crazy pecking order of...
Outright, I'm a wog from the suburbs.
So,
where do you think I was on that pecking order?
So when you look at, you've got like your Zimmerman girls, you've got Ginger and Smart.
I love them.
Exactly. God bless Carla Zampatti, who of course we lost last year, who was a great friend of yours, I know. But
no, I was scared of her.
It was scared of her because...
She was like my mentor,
because you're a bit similar. Because she would play hard.
Yeah.
And I mean that from a business point of view. She was so successful because she would just say, no, that's not going to work for me.
Yep.
And that's why her business did go so incredibly well. I lipstick on my teeth.
I didn't ring her back.
That's why he's like my best friend.
Yeah. You got to look after your friends. I didn't ring her back, and she rang, and I grabbed the phone, and the first thing she said was, "You didn't call me back," and I felt like I withered. It's like, I didn't call Carla back. Like that was,
But there is this sort of probably, but I'm finding now it's not so much. Like you've gone out, you do your thing. Zimmermans have gone out and done their own thing internationally.
I don't care what they think. It's like
good.
I don't care. Like I look at you and I look at what you do or what you. Well, I don't think you're that good, so I don't care. I care about when people that I respect give me criticism. I listen to it. Criticism is one of the best things that you can have. But you've got to respect where it comes from. If people are just having a go, I'm not interested. You want me to have a go at you? Like, get ready. I'll do it.
Have a go,
I will. But like I respect good criticism. But you can't be crippled by it because for a long time you think, I've got to do this because you try and be something to everybody and you can't do that. You've got to pick your lane.
You pick your lane, exactly. Someone said to me about 12 months ago when we were talking about life, future, what we're doing in life. And the first thing he said was, you have to pick your lane.
Yeah.
I think that's where we all get a bit confused, because some people think, okay, well, I want to be a designer, and I want to be on television, and I want to do this, and I want to write a book, and I want to do this. Sometimes it is actually not physically possible to do all of that. You can do it all, but you only can put sort of 50% of your effort into it. So you have to pick your
That's
lane,
when I
which
stopped
you've
doing
done.
that. I just thought, I can't be bothered. I need to give 100% to this.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing that I did, and it helped me really focus on what it was. And you've got to do that. You can't, but you also can't listen to all the voices. Because at one point, I was trying to be everything. People were saying like, oh, it's too expensive. You've got to like hit that sweet spot of $550. It's like, and I tried, but I can't do what I do for $550. It doesn't look like that. And I thought there was something wrong. It's like because I couldn't do it and other people were doing it, and then I just thought, I can't. It is this. And then when I went away from here, like sort of good price is like $2,200 US, and they think that's really great because they'll be going in expecting to buy like an Oscar de la Renta dress for 10, but they'll walk away with 3 of mine, and they think that's affordable luxury. And so I thought, okay, here's my lane, price point wise. I know who I'm doing. Dressing people looks more expensive than what it is. It's not cheap, but I also found my countries, like where it's good, you know.
So where now, I mean, I know you're when you come to numbers, the percentage of what you are selling, is it 85% now international?
We stock 4 shops in Australia. It's like Australia is less than 0.5% of our global business. Wow. There's like 250 stores and growing like worldwide. It just isn't, and I don't say this with any kind of like negativity. It's just not here for me. Like I tried, I gave it a red hot go to make it work here. It's just doesn't work for me here.
Yeah.
There's a smaller population of women in Australia that buy my clothes. They usually buy it online. They'll buy it on Net-a-Porter or My Teresa or any of those platforms. So there's a good business here, but it's not enough to sustain a business. Like if I relied solely on Australia, I'd be pulling coffees at Bill and Tony's. I'm not even joking. It's like I wouldn't have, if 10 years ago I hadn't gone overseas, well, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Like, I'd be serving you a coffee.
And would you say, and you actually make good coffee, so it could have worked quite well. US, would the American market be your
US
biggest?
US is the biggest, it has grown into the biggest. And well, online, Net-a-Porter is massive, and that's kind of encompasses like different regions, but the US is the one that's got the growth. But still, like Europe, you know, the UK, the Middle East is actually growing as well. There's, but we stopped doing so many sequin, you know, like sparkly dresses. We hardly do any, actually. But then there's a young breed of Middle Eastern girl that she doesn't want that because her mum wears that. So it's kind of, she wants the cooler dress, but want a bit of drama and whatever.
But you always, I mean, structure is something that you do so well. Like in a jacket, in a coat.
No, you're jammed in. It's going to help you. It's not. It's not a bias cut dress that if your body's immaculate, great, but like it's going to help you when you need it.
When I have worn a couple of Alex's dresses to awards nights, I remember there was once that I actually couldn't sit
Swallow
down.
your own
I did
spit.
sit down, but I was sitting up like this for the entire night because the bodice was like here. So I was like one of those women who had like a neck about this on, but it felt fabulous and it looked great.
The comfort's never been my thing, and I think for when you're going to wear that kind of clothing, you're just going to suck it up and you're going to be uncomfortable.
You literally do suck it up.
Just suck it up. Do you know what I mean? You're going to wear heels like that. You just like, because that girl's the girl that people look at and, you know, like, oh my God, look at her. The girl that walks in, you know, in a comfortable dress is not the one that you go, oh, look at her. You say, oh, she must be comfortable. Like, is that what?
Is that like wearing a comfy shoe?
It's like that. It's like, when I first bought these boots, I got them in Dubai and they killed me so bad. And I hadn't worn them in, and I was walking to the airport and to the gate, and it was half an hour away. By the end, I was almost on my hands and knees. It was like, this is payback for every girl that I've put through some form of torture. I could barely walk, and I'm tough, I'm all right. But I was, and my brand manager was in front of me, and she says, hurry up, they're going to call our names. And I was almost thinking, I'm going to get on my knees.
I guess because everyone in the room is studying sort of, you know, brand strategy and global brand strategy, I think that's an area that you have, I think, now mastered so incredibly well. But, you know, along with sort of brand strategy, I mean, you've got a relationship still with Specsavers. That's 10 years,
10 years
now.
Like everybody, the shit I got from that when
Why?
I first...
So why did you get shit from
because it was me, and then it was, they thought, oh, cheap glasses, that's so off-brand for you. It's like, well, you don't think my brand's that great anyway. Like, I'm just that Logies guy. And so I thought, no, I can do this. Like, you can, like, the infrastructure's there, we can make, it's just choices. Choose better materials, choose better shapes, and it's 10 years. And I can't tell you how many millions of dollars and how successful that is. And then after I did it, then old mate Colette came on, and Kim Ellery and this one. They said, okay, so let him do it. And then you heard what I was doing, and you thought, oh, you don't mind the money now, do you? And that shitty.
Well, I've noticed that because I get my stuff. I get my glasses literally at Specsavers.
I'll send you some vouchers.
Thanks, Don. Actually, we've got a bit of a surprise with that soon. But anyway, but yeah, it's funny when I go in there, because there's now like there's Colette, there's Ellery. I mean, you know, you're in good company, Victor and Rolf. And,
no, they're in good company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes, they're in
good company. Like when they said that, I thought, oh really? Like, you know what I mean? Like I was the underdog, whatever. But I just believed in what that was, and I thought it's choices. You're gonna make good choices. You're gonna make things that people can afford. Like the other side, I make expensive dresses, but I thought if you're a family, you know, mum and dad that work, and you've got like a couple of kids, and a few of you wear glasses, it's expensive, like before Specsavers, but at least you can go there and so it was nice that I could do something that looked good, that people could actually afford, and it was going to make a little bit of a difference.
No gap.
No bloody gap.
They were going, what? Okay,
Just
what
walk out with
about?
no sun. Well, if you've got health insurance, which you don't pay anything. You get like this voucher every year.
They were looking, going, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I know.
That was always.
They don't need any
I always
hips
look. I'd
replaced
go, hi Alex, no
it's all
gap.
right, they'll know about it soon.
Exactly. When you have to start paying for this.
Yeah, when you pay for stuff.
What was?
When your parents aren't paying for stuff. Just refine that.
Is there, when you look at, I guess, you know, all of the collections you've done, and I think I went to every Australian Fashion Week show that you have done. When was the last Australian Fashion Week show you did?
2012. It was when we brought out Alessandra Ambrosio and we did that.
Yeah.
And that was my favourite of all the... Look, the last thing is always my favourite, but I thought that was really great.
Yeah.
Like, there was really good stuff. But even still then, it was kind of bypassed. You know, it's like, hang on.
And then Alex, and also you'd always get caught up with
the skinny model.
The skinny model
there was
debate,
some skinny bitch on stage, and like that 27 other designers used.
But you always got
me.
Yeah.
Like,
it was
now
like,
I've got to go on
it was
Sunrise
Alex's
and go, I'm sorry, she was too thin, like, you know, whatever. But 27 others. And do you reckon any bastard put their hand up to say, like, oh, look, Soz, we did too?
Yeah.
No, let him.
I
literally fall on my sword. Okay, it was right. She was like, lighting was shocking. She looked super thin. She was thin, but she was the same size as Alessandra.
Yes.
But she just registered anyway. But that's part of the reason I don't want to do any of that stuff. It's like, hang on a minute, I'm not going to be the whipping boy because I've got a big mouth, and I will get up and I'll defend it. And yes, that she probably wasn't the right choice.
Yes.
But I had to go and sit on morning television
I know,
and say to
exactly.
everybody,
it went on for weeks and weeks,
ages and ages, and it's like, so and the clothes that were so good in that show.
Yeah, I remember that collection.
Nobody gave a shit.
And obviously TV. Okay, so then even prior to that, you'd started on Australia's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
Did you love doing that?
I did. I loved it. We had our mate Charlotte was there, and we had fun. And I thought it would do a couple of things. I thought, do you know what? It'll increase brand awareness and, you know, whatever. But all that was wrong. I just had fun. Yeah. Like, and it was fun until it wasn't fun, and it's like, this is getting really boring now.
And it was also very time consuming.
Yeah.
And when you were trying so hard to then get your own brand taken seriously, again, people were probably going, oh, he just wants to be on telly.
That's
right. Probably
that
sort of perception.
It was easy for me. Like, I didn't, like, even though it was it was easy. I was like really good at it. Like, I didn't, you know. But
it just comes very easily to you.
Yeah, it pulled focus from the clothes, and it made people. It wasn't really. It didn't improve. It didn't achieve anything as far as, like, you know, brand awareness. It sort of did all these other things. You know, Specsavers still, like, that was probably the biggest brand awareness thing that I've ever done. And like half of the people I meet, they just think I'm the guy with the sunglasses. They never know that I'm a fashion designer.
Yeah, the guy with the sunglasses stuck to his head.
Yeah, well, that's okay. You just keep going in with your, like, you know, fucking.
Is when you look now at the years and years and years of design,
Yeah.
is there one dress, one moment, one particular person that you have dressed that you think, wow, she or he, probably will be she nailed it.
Yeah.
She exactly is the personification
Yeah.
of what my brand is all about.
I've been lucky. There's been a lot, but there was a moment, like right early on in the piece, and it was one of the first Vogue shoots that I ever did, and we had to make a dress for Elle.
Yep.
And they were shooting her, I think she was in New York or somewhere else, and they gave me the measurements, and so I had to follow the measurements, but they were so insane. I was going, is this normal? Like
How could someone be that little? Yes.
No, tiny,
Yeah.
like in the waist, and they said, no, they're her absolute measurements, and the length. So we made the dress up, and it just looked just weird. It's like no human can wear. Anyway, it was just a strapless black, like pretty full-on fishtail, and they shot it as like an old movie star kind of thing. She's from behind and her arms are up in the air and gloves. To this day, it's the image that
I think I
if you
remember
pick,
that. Yeah.
it's really good. They used it a few times in like later issues and stuff. And it's not, and I can't show it to you, but it's the simplest,
But did it fit her?
like a glove.
So
Couldn't believe it.
So it really
Like,
was that
her waist
big,
was
the
24 inches then. I remember that measurement. Her hips were 36. Like if you get a tape measure and you have a
And
look
for
at
a
that.
5'11" girl, woman,
Like
that's
in
minuscule.
heels. It was a very strange to look at the garment, but then when it was on her, it just all made sense.
Yeah.
And it's one of those classic, and I still look at it today. But every time, I get a buzz every time.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't go away. And I have a buzz for about 5 minutes, and then I'm done. It's like, all right, who's the next one?
Yeah.
Do you know, what's the next cover? What's the next?
I mean, just the
thing?
last few weeks, I've just noticed you've been sort of
It's
everywhere.
outrageous.
Khloe Kardashian the other day had you on.
Yeah.
You're
There's
everywhere.
a role. Like it's
Yeah.
funny. I sit at home and it's usually that stuff happens and we don't know. Like we know that things get called out every week. Like
Yeah.
there's stuff literally, everywhere, and they don't tell me half of it because then I get like a bit obsessive. It's like
But
what
is
happened
it-
with that Beyonce
But
dress?
it's
What
funny,
happened with that?
I just saw that shot of Sofia Vergara, and I
Yeah.
love her.
Yeah, yes,
I mean,
right.
but is there someone that you look at and think, oh my God, I've sort of got a bit of a crush on her anyway, so I was really thrilled.
I did on
that
Sandra
she-
Bullock, and the first time
Yeah.
we dressed her, I was like, because
Yeah.
I love her. I mean,
Yeah.
like Jennifer Lopez always.
Yeah.
I think the first time, with J-Lo was pretty special, but
Yeah.
I think Sandra Bullock, because I just loved her as an actress. Like
Well,
I want
that's
to
right.
dress
What-
Emily
what-
Blunt. We haven't dressed
you
Emily
should be
Blunt
on.
yet, and I just
You will.
from The Devil Wears Prada, and I'm just obsessed,
Yeah.
as
You
we all
will.
are with that movie.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. One of those movies that I keep watching and watching and watching, and I always find something new, don't you?
No,
every
that's
time?
amazing.
Every-
Everybody at work knows it almost verbatim. So you get $10 if you can use a line in a sentence when we're having like a talk or whatever. If it goes in perfectly, yeah. No, we do.
I love
But
it.
we all know it. Like not all of us. Like the machinists don't, but we do.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we're obsessed about
Yeah.
it. And you're right. Every time there's something else.
Yeah. I'm sort of interested, I mean, with everyone that is here today, and you can maybe just put your hands up. Who wants to be a designer?
Oh, that's great. Who wants to be
One.
in production? What do you want to do?
Yeah. So yes, I'm interested. I mean, and just yell out. I mean, but so what? I
One.
mean, having Alex obviously here today, and being his own brand ambassador, being a designer, being a celebrity, being all of that. What is it though that you want out of fashion? What do you want to do? Do you want to be running a brand, or what do you want to do? In the white jacket here.
Marketing.
Marketing, yeah. So fashion marketing.
Hang on. So how many
specifically?
marketers are here?
Nearly a lot.
Okay. So a lot of marketing.
Yep.
What are the other categories? Like, is anybody in sales? No.
No. Marketing's the big thing.
Marketing's
But
the
is
big
it
thing.
is it fashion marketing though that is the thing that you really are thinking? So when it comes to, I mean, with marketing now, it's so not, it's not easy because there's
No, it's really
because
hard.
there's just so many, and there's so many ways now to market fashion. I mean, now we're obviously, our online presence, which is just for everyone, is crazy. How do
Yeah, but I
you
don't know if
find
that-
it with your
I don't know
marketing
how.
department?
We've tried to quantify marketing via social media.
Yep.
And for me, we tried it. We got like 5 really amazing influencers to do things. I need to quantify it because everybody says, they just tell you what, they just tell you. They go, oh no, I did this and I did that. Well, can you show me? Can you show me figures? Have you got those posts to see? Have you got something from that company to say, yes, she sold like 300 units of whatever? It's just, I can tell you anything. I can say to you that, I don't know, I wore this watch and I sold $4 million worth of them. They're really happy with me.
But
you
I think
should book me and I'm going to charge you $40,000 a post.
Yeah, but I think the interesting thing now
how
is...
would you know that that's not true? Like you
just... But the tools now that are available, that can, and you have no doubt your team use them, that prove whether you do have 1 million followers or whether you don't. I mean, that's more imperative more so now because people are charging...
It's really funny. What we did, I've got like my personal Instagram, and that's just for me, what I like to put on. And we've got Alex Perry Official. Like in the time that we've had both of them, Alex Perry Official has got like, 400,000, I've got like 120 or something. And that's good because I just want mine for me. I don't care what's on it. I just want to do my stuff and the people that like it. But Alex Perry Official has grown so quickly. It goes up like, it's got to be like 1,000, 2,000 a week. And in a time that it's very difficult to grow your Instagram. Like people have like literally
I think most people
are trying to get followers.
I think they've sort of plateaued. Most people have plateaued.
We've hit the sweet spot on there. There's a formula of how we shoot it, what we put on there, what we don't put on there. And for our girl, it just works. It resonates. They like it. It drives sales. It does all that sort of stuff. It's very specific, what it is. And that was just trial and error, from us. But that is the kicker. Like you can say whatever you want about that is what drives it. Like when we dress one of the housewives, Neiman Marcus gets so excited I can't even tell you. It's not like we've just dressed, Kate Blanchett. It's like a housewife from Beverly Hills.
Oh yes,
and they're like, for them it works. There's all these different, ways of doing that. Whereas in the beginning, people say, oh, you can't dress those housewives. Watch me. Do you know what I mean?
That's not on brand.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is because those, they all buy it. The majority of them buy it. I don't give it away. And I do to Rinna and like a couple of ones that I'm mates with, but it is, it's a tool, and recognising that woman is the base customer at Neiman Marcus.
Yes.
We dress Hailey Bieber and then that's different for, it's a different kind of, it's like forward. Like in LA, it's like that kind of girl that is going to respond to that. But then also the older woman's still going to respond to her. Because she doesn't want to look, when you're 50 or 60 and you're in good nick, you don't really want to associate yourself with other women your age. You want to think you're 40, or 35. So if some girl like that is wearing it, you can do it. It's just, there's a lot of different little psych points in there.
And do you think, a big part of your success too, I think, Alex, is you as a person? I mean, you've always been no prisoners. You do say what you think. You are articulate. You are those things that I think a lot of people who are quite shy find it hard to succeed in the fashion business because they are a bit shy and a bit quiet. Do you think because of your personality?
Nobody ever believes this, but I was, and essentially I am. It's not, I make this up. I speak a certain way, but I do it specifically for that. If I was up here and I was mealy-mouthed and I just, the stuff that's been going on for you kind of don't really feel like doing this in a way. But it's like, no, you need to, and you got to pluck it. It was a defense mechanism originally, and then it's like, no, people, as a designer, you don't want to have a drawn-out conversation to me about what option. You want me to tell you. You wear the gold. You'll look amazing in the red.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And you've got to be confident and definite about your choice. Not bullshit. You've got to mean what it is, but just deliver it like that. I used to do like weddings years ago and it was just, I wanted to kill somebody at the end of it, like sit there with her and the bridesmaids and her mother and like 12 sketches and bridesmaid number 3. And I really like this one. Well, it's not about you. We're talking about her. And having that lit at the end of it, I just needed therapy like each time. And then so I thought, nah. You're not getting 12 sketches anymore, you're getting 3. You can bring 2 people in with you. We will discuss it based on the consultation we've had because I'm that good that I'll get it in 3. And I'll tell you, these are all great, but you should be in this one. Do you know? Take control of it rather than just sit there ad nauseum listening. But you've got to know your stuff to do that. You can't be, can't railroad people, but you have a consultation, as you would do if you're a media person. Listen to what are the objectives? What does this client want? What do they want to achieve from it? Which is the same as a wedding dress. Like use it in those terms. What do you want to achieve? You want to be the most beautiful woman in the world on that day. All your girlfriends are jealous. All the guys are kicking themselves because they didn't ask you first. You know, glamour, whatever it is. And you've got to nail what that is. So you've got to nail, and PR is really hard because you've got to have a good product, or even if it's not such a good product, you've got to know where to funnel that. You know, what are the angles for it? Who's the market for? You know, Roxy Jasenko. You should get her to come in and talk to you. She's an absolute genius in understanding what it is. And similarly to me, they used to look at her and go, "Oh God, that Roxy, she's got all those."
And they still do.
Because she had like not A-grade brands, but she'd pick up Byron Bay cookies and just ramp it up with those people because she's so clever. Where to do it, how to do it, and how to make it look good. Do you know, she does it with her kids' stuff, those pixies, little dolls, and
fidgets
fidgets and whatever it is. It's like genius. Like, you know, but it's knowing what that is, and it's knowing where do you put it.
Is there someone, when you think of, you know, your clients that you've worked with, is there someone that has actually come to you and said, I definitely want to wear this type of dress, and you've just said, look, honey, sorry,
not my
it is
bag.
not. And and will they just go, okay, well, so I'll get someone else to do it because they're really
there were two sorts.
Keen to wear a particular
style? There were two sorts. There were ones that just wanted me to do it. I'm telling you, I'm not good at bias. Haven't done it for ages. Could probably give it a go. It's not going to be an easy process, and it's not really my thing. Do you know? So no, you know, especially when you think, God, I could use the money like in the early days, but it's just this is not going to end well for us. Do you know? And there were other people that understood that. It's just really not my bag. And I don't know why you're asking me for that anyway, because in all of the things that you send them, do you see anything like that? Maybe you should go here. With no, like literally, so you'll have a better experience there. Do you know? Female designers usually did that bias stuff and it was looser, and I'm like, slam her in. She's going to get pashed in this dress. Like it's going to be a good night. Do you know? But that's the type of clothing that I do. You will get noticed when you walk in. It's always been my MO. Do you know? And so stay in my lane. I'm not going to try and do
a bias cut,
slinky satin thing that you'll probably wear with a kitten heel. I just go and stab myself. Like, can't.
So not
who
you,
made that for you? He did.
It's so not you.
No, it's not. And it's having just being upfront enough and confident enough to say, that's not me. Somebody else will do it better than me.
Is there, okay, so apart from the Elle Macpherson amazing dress that was this small, is there another, maybe, whether it's a collection or a particular dress or a particular vibe that someone wore of yours that you think, yeah, I'm so proud of that?
I can't.
Probably so many.
There's lots. Like I see, like there's, just friends that I've dressed when I think they've looked amazing and we've gone out, or that for me probably more than anything. I just look at them and I go, God, she looks beautiful. Mary's worn something, and I just, I think it's the movement of it. And there's been shows that we've done. There's a lot of moments. I can't pinpoint one because I have these moments. I'm lucky. I get them all the time. I get like great images of people that are super famous that I don't know, and it's like, I'm a wog from the suburbs, and I think that's, and I look at it and I go, I'm proud of myself that we've gotten to that point. So there's lots of those little micro moments that make me happy. But it's probably the people that I actually know and love that I dress and I see them go out that I just think, oh, you look beautiful.
Now, I think there might be some questions. I've got that feeling. There's some faces out there. They're all beautiful, young, gorgeous faces.
It's really humiliating if nobody asks.
I know, won't that be embarrassing?
Yeah.
Because I was told there were weeks of questions.
And then nobody's going anywhere.
There must be. I mean, we've got a man here who's been there, he's done it all. Oh my God, and we can probably hear you if you really articulate.
Just wondering what your design process is like for most of your
Okay, it's really weird, my design process. It's not like other people's. I don't get inspired by places or nature or
trips to
anything like that.
Positano.
No, I wish. I'm usually sitting at the dining room table at home or at work with, I've got a creative director who's a really good mate of mine, and we just sort of figure out a couple of, it's always going to be the same story, the same girl, the same kind of feel of what it is. But we'll look at fabrics a lot. We'll see what's available in fabric. And then that sort of tells me what to do. And we'll have just a couple of loose ideas. Like it might be a picture of Kate Moss in a nightclub, or it might be, just some reference pictures from different times or, eras. And then I just start sketching stuff up, and then it's more about when we make the patterns and we start fitting it. That's when things always change. So something that I'd sketched that I thought was going to be great dies. It's not great. We look at it and go, no, that's humiliating, get rid of it. Or some things work really well, and then we'll change. Then I'll play on the fit model, with the shape. It's more about the shape and the fit, getting that right proportion. It's just, and it kind of changes right up until the end. Like even, once we've got the final thing there, then we'll look at it with other things and it changes. Whereas I know a lot of people are like inspiration bound, and I find that when I do that, I make it too literal. It ends up looking like, if I look at like a Spanish print, then she just looks like a señorita, and it's like I can't get my head out of that space. So it's very, very obtuse reference points if I do use them. And then sometimes people, you won't even know where it's from. So if I said to you, oh, this was inspired by blah, blah, you go, right, he's insane. It doesn't look anything like that. But it's just how my brain works. It's much more visual and what happens on there, on the person.
Hello.
Who are your favourite designers?
There's a lot of things that a lot of people do that I see that I like. I don't have one, people say, oh, like old school, there's, Christian Dior, Balenciaga, kind of old school but modern Valentino. There's always been reference points there that I love, but I love, and there's things about, Alexander McQueen in his time. I look at things that Bottega do. I look at things that a lot of people do things, but I can't say that there's one like,
absolute
mentor, absolute favourite. There's parts of a lot of different people that, that I think are great. Right up till now, like there's, brands like Off-White and things that there's things that I like and I understand, even though it's not my thing, that kind of make me a runway shot of something, or the way like the latest Bottega show was like so beautiful. There were like colours in there. So there's always reference points of things, but I never look too hard or long at anything, because I don't like anything to be derivative or to look like I've smashed it out of something. And there's I also, as much as I love those classic old designers, you can't bring that into today anymore. It was beautiful then on those women in that lifestyle. You can give something the feel of it a little bit, but it has to remain looking completely current. There's nothing worse than, when you see those women around Newtown and they're wearing, I don't know, they think they're in the 1950s and they're wearing like, circular skirts and they've got like Betty Page fringes and stuff. It's like, okay, you're living in a cartoon or something. It just, do you know what I mean? It's your costume. So it's got to, you can give a nod to something like that, but it's almost imperceivable what it is. So sorry, no, not one particular person, a lot of people.
Yep.
How would you recommend for people sort of our age, how would you recommend we go about getting into the fashion industry? Because I know, I don't know what sort of areas everyone wants to get into, but I know it's more about connections in the fashion industry.
No.
And if you don't have those connections, how would you just
That's a really old, antiquated thing that people say because they think it's difficult. It's not like, I happen to know this person and they're going to let me in. It's not, nobody's interested in that. If your dad knows some girl that's like, it doesn't mean, it's like you need to get into a company and you need to prove yourself that you are, whatever the rung is that you get in there on. This is like, okay, I'm going to tell you something about your generation. You ain't gonna like it, but you're pretty lazy and you think you work really hard because everybody's told you that you're really great and you're special and you can do anything you want, darling, and you're so going to show you're drawing to your parents, oh, look how good she is.
She's going to be Alex Perry.
It's your mother. It's your mother. And you're coddled. And everybody's got like they think you've got the dialogue down pat, you're all really great at that, you're probably going to slay it at the interview. But then you've got to do it. Like you've got to get in there and you've got to be the shit kicker for like 3 years. And that's just what happens if you want to. Because what that means is if you're in, you prove to wherever you are that you're special, that you work hard, that you're focused, that you've got like a good work ethic, you will move through there. Getting it, and that story, it's like when like Corinne Upton Baker, who's the CEO of Hermes, was the receptionist at Vogue.
Yeah.
When she was like 18 years old. She was the receptionist, she was the door bitch that just literally answered the phone and told you, no, you can't speak that. Then she became the editor of Vogue, she was the editor of Harper's, like classic. Like literally from that to that. And that's what it is. When you're in, you've got someone's attention. Do you know, it's not like, it doesn't matter how you get the job, you know, but once you're there. And the good thing is that the majority of you don't stay anywhere very long. Do you know, people come into me with CVs and they're usually on average, in a 3-year period, there's been 6 jobs for maybe 8 months apiece, you know, 9 months. And we just look at that and we bin it. It's like, not her or him. Like, it's not, what are we going to get? Nothing. Because they think, oh, it's just not me. Like, if one more person says that to me, I'll be in jail. I will actually hit someone and I'll be on the news and I'll be in jail because it's just, I wait for it to come out. Let me tell you, it's just not you, right? Do you know, or there's something about the work-life balance or the, you know, whatever.
I have to leave at 5 because I've got Pilates and all that
I don't give a shit about your Pilates. I give a shit about my going to the gym. That's why I'm paying you, and you'll be here because I've been here for 33 years and you've been here for 3 months. So that's the pecking order. And you don't like it because all of a sudden you're not up here, you're entry level, but prove to me that you're up here. And that's what that is. And it's one of the best pieces of advice. Stick it out, get in there, figure out like, you're gonna do, I've got a 70-30 rule. 70% of the stuff I do, I love, 30% I hate.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with that ratio. I could even go 60-40 because that's good. But you've just got to get to prove to people that you've got the staying power, you know, that you've got some resilience, that when things get tough, you don't crumble, you know, and then that flags it to me. It's like, you know what, geez, we just had this guy, Charles, he's been with us for 6 months. We just sent him to Paris. Like, we couldn't get an assistant over there. I mean, this doesn't happen all the time. It's happened a few times at my work, but it's like, hang on a minute, how many places do you work at? And because you've shown to me that you're pretty, like, you're solid, that you're working hard, that I can see a bit of a future with you, go to Paris. You know, maybe you're in the room with like the biggest retailers in the world, like, you know, whatever. Things like that happen, but you've got to show me that commitment.
You've got to make it happen.
Yeah, you've got to make it happen for yourself. Sorry, that was a long-winded answer, I know, but do you know what I mean? But like, you just got to do it. You got, like, I was talking with Melissa before. Like, my mum was born here of immigrant parents. My dad came here with like 20 pounds in a suitcase. Didn't speak any English. Made his whole. Like, if I gave any of you now, okay, I'm giving you $1,000. Take a suitcase, and I'm just going to drop you in a non-English speaking country. Not a word. Like, they don't speak anything else other than, I don't know, they're Indian or, you know, whatever. Try making a life. Like, get a job for starters when you don't speak any English so that you can eat. You know, meet somebody, have a family, have a home, do whatever. It's like, my dad's my hero. Like, that, insurmountable to me. I couldn't do it. So then when we're talking about hardship or working hard or doing whatever, and it just means that you've got to be good when you go into a job that you've Ubered yourself into, you've got to try a bit harder. You've got to have a little bit more resilience, take on criticism well, be proactive, offer solutions, and make yourself invaluable and noticed in that environment. It's like, that girl, she's great. She's the next one.
I think we've got time for one question because I'm getting the roll up at the back. So I think you're supposed to be all back in class. There was one other question. Yes?
Do you think that you need to have like real talent of sketching or like be able to be a designer? A regional designer?
If you'd asked me that question 2 years ago, I would have said yes. What we do, like, I reckon you need to be able to sketch. And people say, I can't sketch, I don't know it. Sketching is one of those things that's like, it's not a magical gift. The more you do it, the better you become at it. Like, I went to college with kids who were like just shit the first couple of months. They were really, really bad. You do it again and again and again and again, and you will get better at it. Like, You know, whether you need it, I do it for myself because it's the way that I like to, like, I'll do the range, we'll board it up, then we'll talk about it with like creative director, with sales, with whatever. And I like the way that it looks and feels. It feels more authentic than just catting the whole thing up. It's got no soul. We will eventually cat it up, and that's what all the production sheets are about and all that sort of stuff. But to, you know, like, it's my way of like, sometimes the girl's got straight hair, sometimes there's a swingy ponytail. It's just the way that I do it to give them an idea of the feel of what I think it's going to be like. So for me, it's an important part of the creative process because I get to just put my headphones on, nobody bothers me, and I like it. It's like, I find it like relaxing, I find it creative. It's not essential, but I think it's good for you to be able to express, you know, because at the end of the day, it's a creative medium, like we're creating fashion, so you should be able to do something. But I also really believe that it's a learnt skill. It's not one of those, some people are better at it, you know, initially, and then, but you can teach yourself how to do that.
But you'll also go back to the office today and work till 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, he is
Yeah.
probably the hardest worker.
It's not done till it's done.
Yeah.
Like I don't get that, you know, it's 5 o'clock.
9 o'clock, oh, time to go for a drink.
Whatever.
It's none of that, no.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to wrap it up because I have to. I'm being told to. Alex, number
Thank you.
one, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you
I think
guys
a
for being
huge
here.
round of applause to Alex Perry.